Well, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time today. I really appreciate it.
Of course, yeah, I'm happy to come on.
I'm very excited for this show. For you, how exciting was it to join? And then what can you tell me about your character and this world that's, spun off from such a popular show?
Yeah, no, it was so exciting for me. I mean, I have been such a huge fan of The Handmaid's Tale. I studied the novel in high school. I watched a bit of the show as well. So I definitely knew just how prevalent it was, not just for like Canada, but also like globally. And I just was so honored to be a part of it in any way. Um, and it felt like such like a full circle moment for me too, because I had known, the story in the world. And so to be a part of it in like this new show was always, it's such a dream. For my character, I play Miriam, who is one of the plums. She is on the cusp of womanhood in Gilead, and she kind of struggles with this idea of marriage and her one true purpose, which is to be a wife and to marry a commander. And when that kind of fails like right in front of her and starts to deconstruct, she really struggles and doesn't know who to turn to, except for her friends in this world.
Oh, I mean, just the trailer is like so creepy. I love the outfits, by the way.
Yeah.
But I love how the trailer is like shot and how it shows like just the like uniformity of everything. It's wild. What was it like wearing those outfits and stuff? Because like I feel like it's gonna be a little surreal and a little like, ooh, this is
Yeah.
crazy, right?
No, for sure. And I think the costumes was such a big part of the story, but also just such a big part of like the characters. And so I remember walking into my first fitting for the role. I saw like the mood boards for like The Handmaid's Tale and like, what the costume was like for that. And then with this, we also have, like you said, a big range of uniforms that ranges from like the Pearl Girls and then the Plums and then the Pinks. So there was a lot more diversity in terms of like what that uniforms look like the
Mm.
colors. And we had like specific outfits for specific occasions. And so like that was really cool. But you start to realize that it is like a suffocating theme, like over and over again, with like, especially when you first get into costume and then you get on set and you're, in that uniform for like 12 plus hours a day. You really start to feel it. And so, yeah, I'm so glad that it shows in the trailer and it shows on screen because it was definitely such a strong part of it.
Yeah, it's so cool. I feel like when you first put it on and you looked at yourself in the mirror, like what was your reaction?
I was so excited, actually. I think that something that surprised me was just how much they age you down. Like, I
Yeah.
remember putting that on and like I had my hair back and like I literally looked in the mirror and I was like, I look like 13. Like I look, yeah, I like, look super young. And so I think it definitely accomplishes the goal of like really showing the most like vulnerable parts of us like on screen, and I think that that's so needed for this story, is to show just like how young these girls are when they're going through stuff like this, and as they're getting older and like, trying to marry, but then you see them like in their uniforms and it's like they're so little.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's eerie.
it
You
is.
know, it's really eerie. Did that really help you get into like the mind frame of like, oh, I'm like very more innocent, more, you know what I mean? Like,
For sure. Yeah, I think it definitely affects like the cadence of the way that you speak, the way that you move. And I think all of that you kind of have in the back of your mind, like before you even come on to set. But then yeah, you go into hair and makeup, you have the costume on, and it really does like you sound younger. And maybe it's like just the magic of it. It's like, the magic of like that play. But when all the puzzle pieces kind of fit, like you really do act in accordance to like just how young you're supposed to be, like not only in the book, but like on the page, and then it shows on screen.
yeah. Well, speaking of the sets, like, what is it like walking onto a set like that? Because again, just from the trailer, there's like so much. I
Yeah.
can't imagine being a part of a massive set like that.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I was so in awe of every set that we shot at, and like on location too. Like there were some days where um they had like they really just did such a great job in building the world, like the world
Mhm.
building of like this new, because even though old fans may be familiar with like Gilead and what that looks like, you really do see it through like these rose-colored glasses and in this version of the story. And I think that it's very meticulous, especially early in the early episodes of the show. You see it in like the set decoration and the way that they really brought up like this world. And so stepping onto set, like every day, it felt so different, even if we were filming like at the same location, because I think as you dive deeper into the story, things get darker, and
Mhm.
also on screen it's you see that too, like
I
yeah.
love that. I love that. Well, speaking of dark, like this obviously is like dark and heavy, right? We know that from the Handmaid's Tale, right? It's obviously a world that is has its flaws,
Yeah.
so to speak, right?
Yeah.
So how do you like get out of that mindset? You know, when they say cut, like what are you trying to like
Mhm.
do to move yourself out of that dark place?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I got really lucky because this cast and crew, everybody was just so wonderful to work with and to be a part of. And I think that that makes things really easy to kind of just like snap out of it, because I feel like I really made a friend with everybody. And so it creates a safe space, not only for us to, play on screen and like on set, but um, it feels really easy to just kind of get off of it too. And I think something that I really tried to prioritize while we were filming is to have um, a consistent and like as consistent of a sleep schedule as I could.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I would just like go home and like turn off my phone and just like pass out. And I think that like having that routine also really helped me to like, put my best foot forward the next day and come to set with like a great attitude. And I think everybody did the same. So that for sure helps.
Sleep is for sure so important. It's crazy how different you can be the next day if you got like a little sleep versus enough
Yeah,
sleep.
for sure. Yeah.
Is there a moment like with your castmates on set that really like stands out to you that maybe you'll remember like years from now after this is over? Is there a moment where you're like, man, I really hope I remember this?
Yeah, I think it was just like ordinary moments every day. Like I think just sitting in the green room, like so many of us were like huge readers. And so all I feel like we kind of had like a out of routine like book club happening. All of us would talk about like the books that we were reading, and just having lunch together. I remember there was one day where there was like an ice cream truck, and like me and Hattie like went out to get ice cream like 5 times like during one scene, and we just ate so much ice cream. So I think, yeah, it's just like the ordinary moments of like friendship, and I think that you see that in the show too, of just like no matter how extreme things are, and how dark things are, at the end of the day they're just teenage girls, and you
Mm.
see that through their friendship and that aspect, that theme of like girlhood too.
You see, I love that because I have two girls, two teenage girls, and I feel like all too often on screen we see them pitted against each other and not like actually there for each other. So, what does it mean to you to be able to show that side of things too?
Yeah, no, I think it's everything. And I love that in this show where the girls are supposed to be pitted against each other, despite that, you still have such a strong sense of friendship. And
Mhm.
I think I can speak for like Miriam is like, besides Gilead, the only other foundation that she has is the friends that she's made in her school. And at the end of the day, when she starts to question Gilead and what it has in store for her, the only thing that she's able to turn to is her friends.
Yeah.
And I love that that's something that all the girls can kind of rely on as each other, even if they're supposed to be pitted against each other.
Yeah, I think that's such a powerful message because, kids need to know that. That's what I always tell my kids. I'm like, your girlfriends will always be there for
Always.
you. Yes, it's so important.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I do want to talk about Chase real quick. I loved her in One Battle, so I'm so excited to see her back in this. She's a fellow 18 an 80s fan, which I know. But what is it like, working with her? And because obviously, like, her movie just won the Oscars.
Yeah. No, I mean, Chase is such an extraordinary person. She is incredibly talented, so driven, and I think she was such like a leader on set too. I think that she really just has that inherent like leadership like aura to her. And I think that she's someone that I and a lot of other people I think like really looked up to in that way. She has such like a comforting energy, and I think like such a kindness to her that she brings to all of her characters. And I think that you really can see that in Agnes too. Which I mean, that's one of my favorite things about like the show is like the kindness that we all show to each other, again, despite being kind of an inherent competition with each other. And so, yeah, I think that all of us just had something that we brought to our characters that like really made things special.
Oh, see, I love that. I love hearing that, like, it's actually a good time on set,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'm sure you never know when you walk onto set, right? Like, what is this dynamic going to be like?
Yeah, no, exactly. And I feel like I've been so lucky to have had most projects that I've been a part of. Like it's always been such a great cast and crew, and you're always lucky when you get to work with people that you truly admire. And that's very true for this show. So.
Okay, and then final question for fans of Handmaid's Tale, what would you say, sets this apart? Obviously, we know it's very different,
Mhm.
while also the same sort of world. So, like, what would you say that they should come to this series for?
Well, I think that the younger audiences, or even just people that haven't seen The Handmaid's Tale, they're really going to appreciate kind of the dark comedic elements to this show because there is some like humor and levity to, I think, every episode. Like, I remember reading the script and like found myself like laughing at times because it almost felt nostalgic in a way too, because it brought me back to like the years when I was like a teenager and like 14 and going through that stage. And I'm like, yeah, this is very like I remember this happening to me. And I remember being, getting into like a fight with my girlfriend about this, or like, like finding my first new friend and like feeling like I don't fit in. Like it's such a universal experience. I feel like there's
Mhm.
so many moments that are you can very like universally relate to a lot of the themes in the show. Um, and I think while The Handmaid's Tale and The Testaments both like you can draw parallels to like the darker themes as well, you can for sure also draw parallels to some of the lightheartedness stuff and like the levity of the
Yeah,
situation.
which you
Yeah.
definitely need in
Oh,
a story
yeah,
like
it's
this.
a good balance. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I'm so excited. I can't wait to watch it. I feel like, I mean, my girls are 13 and 14, almost 15. So I feel like it's a good age we can watch together.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think you guys are going to enjoy it.
Oh, I'm so excited. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you, and congratulations on everything.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.